Good morning, my dearest friends. Today I am going to uh, explain the chapter The Last Lesson by Alfonso Daudet. And this is the revision work that we are doing. So we'll do, part wise, because in poetry section in one class I gave you the explanation of the poem, main theme, literary devices, and of course the NCERT questions and the board based questions from the chapter. But now in prose section we will do uh, separate wise. First the background, the brief point of the story, the characters, okay, and the theme, and then we will do the NCERT questions, and then we will do the value based questions or the board based questions of the chapters. So I have just written some of the uh, main points that I am reading, okay, and try to just connect these points with the story that we have already done. So the point is the background of the story is set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War, okay. So the French district of Alsace and Lorraine were captured by Germans, France and Germany. So France was defeated by Germans, okay, and Germans, and the new master was to come the next day in a school in Alsace to teach German in place of French. So the French people were asked or forced, not asked but forced, to read the language of German, and that first implementation and first enforcement of law was there in two districts of French, that is Alsace and Lorraine. The story tells the effect of this new on this life at the school at in Alsace. Means what happens after the rules implementation and forceful implementation of the rules, okay. What happens in a school and what happens to the characters and how they react, about the language, that is all about this story. So the prose, the last lesson written by Alfonso Daudet, narrates about the year 1870 when the Prussian forces under Bismarck attacked and captured France. This is the historical background is giving about the uh, one historical war that took place before World War First, Second. It was the 19th century, okay. In 19th century, the whole Europe was, uniting themselves and just moving ahead, and it was industrial revolution for them, it was French revolution for them, many things were going on there. So the French districts of Alsace and Lorraine went into Prussian hands, that is Germany. The new Prussian rulers discontinued the teaching of French in the schools of these two districts. It is a language imposition, just as the British imposed the language of English, okay, uh, on the Indians, because of the smooth functioning of their company and well establishment of their industry and a smooth functioning of the, the, the clerical work they were expecting from the Indians. But when it was the advent of 20th century and the world was connected with the all around the globe, okay, all corners of the globe, the Indians, okay, and even the English speaker people were benefited with this language. So we have some freedom fighters, some great leaders, some lawyers, some advocates, some teachers, some professors, and some scientists, and because of this English language. Even our first Nobel laureates of Asia, Rabindranath Tagore, late Rabindranath Tagore, got received the Nobel Prize in 1913 when he translated his book into English. So this is very important. Okay, but this was initially the Indians rejected and neglected and just staged the dharna that we will not read English, we are Indian, okay, we'll read Hindi, Urdu and Sanskrit and Bangla. Like this kind of protests were going on there on that time because it was forced. But it was when it was made normal, then they start accepting and reading. But here the narrator has described the when a language is snatched, when a language is forced to just read, what happens to the people of the language. That is the story all about. The story describes the last day of one such a French Hamel or Mr. Hamel, the French teacher, and Mr. M. Hamel had been transferred and could no longer remain in his old school. Still, he gave his last lesson to his students with utmost devotion and sincerity as ever. The story depicts the pathos of the whole situation about how people feel when they don't learn their own language and then losing an asset in M. Hamel, one of his students French, who dreaded French class, and Mr. Hamel's iron rod came to the school that day thinking he would be punished as he had not learned his lesson. So the relationship between teacher and student has also been disclosed, that how a student is very much frightened and how a teacher keep on giving punishment, okay, to the students for the betterment of their life, for the upliftment of their life. But the student thinks that this teacher is not good, this is very hard, okay, very much cruel. So this relationship is also very minutely uh, just displayed and explained in this story. But on reaching a school, he found Hamel dressed in Sunday clothes and all the old people of the village sitting there. It was due to an order on the bulletin board. That was the first day when he realized for the first time that how important French was for him. But it was his last lesson in French. So actually, nothing happens in this story. The impact of the notice board, the impact of the snatching of their language, the impact of the transfer of the teacher who has served for more than 40 years there, and the neglect of the language by the people, and when the language was snatched and no longer asked them to just read. So what happens there, that particular emotional things have been explained in this story. So this is a story in brief. I am telling you. 1890, the year Prussian conquered two states of France, Alsace and Lorraine. A boy from Alsace is one on his way to school. He is unwilling to school and is scared of his teacher, Mr. Hamel. Means one boy was asked to prepare a lesson on preposition or something, and he was not well prepared, and he was not willing to go to school because he was scared, he was frightened, he was thinking that when I will reach to the school I will be punished, okay, I will be beaten. So this kind of thinking was going on. So on his way, what happens, what he saw in the by the side of the road or on his way. So that things have been also explained. The boy name is French, very lazy and very illiterate. While passing the town hall, French see so many French citizens overcrowded in front of the bulletin board. They are reading, okay, the latest order from the Prussian, okay, the enemies. The Prussian means the Germans were enemy of the French. The order said no French school will thereafter teach French. All French teachers are hereby ordered to leave the country. Students should attend their school and learn German as their language. Teachers are already appointed. Same philosophy is going on. Same kind of tendency. China is also trying to implement in the neighboring country of uh, India, like Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Bhutan. He is giving free of cost, okay, uh, teaching of the Chinese language. They have one language, okay, that he wanted that all people should learn this language so that it would be easy for him, easy for Chinese to uh, just uh, expand their industry or sell their goods easily in the market of this neighboring country of India. And even some of the states was proposed, like Gujarat and South India, some states of South India and Himachal Pradesh and Assam, that they were asked to just introduce the Chinese language uh, in their school curriculum. All the costs will be bear by the Chinese. So this kind of planning was going on there, okay. Even they have successfully implemented that approach in Nepal and Bhutan and some part of the Manipur area. So this is very, it is linguistic chauvinism, means one country who is powerful, who wanted to rule the people with the help of the language. So same thing happens here also. French is illiterate, so he cannot read the order. After halting for a while, French runs up to his school. In the school, French is told of the new order and of his teachers leaving the school. Although never interested in learning, French for the first time felt like blaming himself. Means it was first he realized and he just condemned his approach of not learning the language that was now snatched and no longer be he will no longer be able to read that. He listened to Mr. Hamill's last lecture. Wonder he understood every word, every grammar, every rule. The last class transformed him, okay, life and aptitude. He saw how important it is to be literate, how essential it is to love one's mother tongue, and how painful it is to be denied the right to learn one's mother tongue. So these are the themes, okay, these are the happenings, these are the emotional and moments, okay, and attachment with the people, okay, with the language. These are the themes of um, linguistic chauvinism. So this particular theme is very much important. Is a devotion for or against something just based on what you feel. So this is their belief about chauvinism that you will read. Okay, main characters we have something is attitude of teachers and students towards learning and teaching. The main characters. So main characters are there. Mr. Hamill, sincere French teacher, knows subject well, passionate about French, considers French clearest, most beautiful, logical, feels key to personal sense of freedom, advised to hold on to French means learn the language. Okay, mm. Just like the Bengali people always just speak in their language with each others. We Bihari don't. We UP we don't. Okay, but this is the devotion, okay, towards their language, proud of being French, upset by occupation of Alsace by German, attached to town, school people, hard taskmaster, particular about discipline and learning, students scared, last day exercises on all aspects of language, sensitive, honest, blames himself for selfishness, emotional by sound of Prussian soldiers. So these are the things that took place there. You all have read all these things. So the second character is French, sensitive, honest, blames himself for ignoring lesson. See, this is the maturation of a young boy when he starts blaming, okay, himself. Blaming is something else and cursing is something else. Blaming means when you admit, when you confess your fault and rectify them, that is blame and admit. And cursing means you just start cursing yourself and then you moved into complete depression. So that is very wrong. You should admit your fault, okay, and rectify them. That is the blaming. Wonders if pigeons will coo in German. This was the course. Okay, he was thinking that pigeons will not be forced to speak the language of the Germans. Understand feelings of Hausa. Loves outdoors. Okay, sunshine, birds. This is his characteristics. Features: butterflies collecting birds' eggs. As a student, repents. Good observer, notices changes, empathizes with MML, understand emotions, accept him, okay, with fault. I'm sending you this whole text in the group, okay, WhatsApp, and then the more explanation I'm giving you besides that on live classes. So please join me there. Thank you very much. All the best. God bless you all.